Good morning. I'm Melissa Cabuzzi, chairperson of the Orange County Partnership. Today is Monday, March 3rd. The time is now 8:14 a.m. And we are in the conference room at the Partnership office at 40 Matthew Street, Suite 108, Goshen, New York. This is a public meeting and it is being live streamed. Notice that this meeting was published in accordance with the New York Open Meetings Law. The call to roll call, I hereby call the meeting to order and note that the following board members are present. Dr. Susan Dean, Mary Beth Bianconi, Ryan Hawthorne, Kurt Kaler, and Greg Peckham. We have two participating via video conference, that's Mike Gilfeather and Sandy Mathis. We have a quorum. I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person. In this case, we are interviewing Connor Eckert for the position of President, CEO of the Orange County Partnership. I note that the full board is undertaking this task instead of the executive committee. Do I have a second to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are now in executive session. The public is being excluded and the live streaming is being paused. The time is now 8:15 a.m. Time is now 10:05 a.m. No action or votes were taken in executive session, therefore no minutes were taken. I'm happy to make a motion to offer Connor Eckert the position of President, CEO of the Orange County Partnership. The compensation package consists of an annual salary of $160,000 and a benefits pack with a complete compensation package to be provided over the next 60 days. The salaries consist, I note that the board had commissioned employment survey by Pearl Meyer, and the salary is consistent with that report. Do I have a second for the motion of hiring Connor Eckert to the position of CEO?
Second.
Okay, all in, second, sorry, do we have a motion? I made a motion. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Connor, can we bring Connor in now? Connor,
Hey.
sorry. Congratulations.
Thanks so much, guys. This is gonna be so much fun.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Congratulations, Connor. We're gonna move into our regular board meeting, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Orange County Partnership meeting of January 21st, 2025. Those minutes have been distributed to the members. Any comments or corrections? If not, do I have a second to that motion? Second to the motion to accept the minutes, all in favor? Aye. All right, next I'd like to ask Mary Beth to present the financial report. Mary Beth?
All right, everyone, so I'm going to keep this really brief. You all have this to review. The only thing I want to point out is that when you look at the P&L for January, one of the things that you will see just right off the bat is that we're up almost 22% in those invoices in private investment, and that's really spectacular. A quick note on last year. If you were to consider the extraordinary expenses that we had with respect to legal services, and you took those out of our accounting, you would see that we had our typical extraordinary year in terms of income. Our events actually overperformed in many cases. So it was a very positive year for the partnership. We did have those expenses. Certainly where I will characterize them as unfortunate, but are now past us. And you also have a draft of the financial statement for 2024. I'm assuming everyone has reviewed that. Unless there are any questions, I think it's fairly straightforward. Everything was balanced throughout the year, and again, really our biggest issue was our what I'll call our extraordinary expenses with respect to legal.
Okay, any questions for Mary Beth? All right, I'd like to note that the 2024 audit report and the January 2025 financial statements have been distributed to the board. I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's financial report. Am I accepting the audit report as well? And the audit report. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to ask Maureen to present her president's report.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
This is a moment in history for me today. This is a great day, and I welcome Connor. Just a joy, really. So this is a beautiful time for me as well as president. Okay, so I wanted to just sort of bring up the board on a couple things. First of all, thank you so much for always diligently reading off the financials, and I am sort of proud. Last year would have been a very big year for the Orange County Partnership had it not been for some of the legal expenses. So that I'm very proud of the team. We set some very strong goals last year to outdo ourselves for events and bringing in new sponsors and new investors. Connor hit all of those goals, the team hit all of those goals, and it was a great year. It's just that we had a very big expense. So just because there is some team members in this room, I wanted to make sure that I said that. Outreach and education. This year we're setting goals again. So we Connor and I work together at the end of the year setting goals for the team. Some personal growth, some personal training, but also some collective goals for finances. And we already outdid ourselves at the first QPM, those of you that were able to make it. QPM meetings have always just been, an investor would send their person. And they were 50 when we started QPMs a couple of years ago. We just thought this is a better way to engage our investors. They started bumping up on 100, this is 186 people signed up for the QPM. That's a really big event, you know, quite large, you know, like it could be in a normal not-for-profits, you know, breakfast. So we were very happy to see that momentum coming right out of the first of the year. And outreach and education, I had this little note to myself to just share with you that it really is exciting and newsworthy when we have new attractions. But it really is the expansions and retention component of this job that is so critically valuable. And if you look back over the last 20 years since I've been here, expansions and in terms of job creation outdo attractions every day, every year. So we are very, very focused on the expansions that are coming in this county and making more inroads to meet with companies that are already here, help them with any problems and issues and all of that. With that said, those of you who attended the QPM, I know the Roastin tour was mentioned, and I don't know how much you want to say about that here in a meeting, but what you can, I'd like you to share about the Roastin tour and the NYSERDA.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, touched on it a bit in exec, but we won the $320,000 from NYSERDA. So we have engineers on site right now doing redevelopment analysis, demo feasibility. They're doing a market analysis for us, all tied at redeveloping the 2 power plants. Again, not decommissioning power plants, but co-locating industry on the residual land where it makes sense to build on the sites. And then simultaneously, we're soon to start a generic environmental impact statement on the 30-acre Roastin site. And that is, you know, it's an active plant, but again, there's an opportunity where you could do many things, including manufacturing. We could do battery R&D, you could do hyperscale data centers. There's a lot of unique industry clusters we can attract to that site, just given the industry profile. So that's, I think, our first advanced technology site, because it can accommodate the infrastructure power demands of those, you know, companies who are struggling to find sites anywhere else in the country. So pretty exciting start, and I think over the next few months it's really going to ramp up.
Yeah, thank you, Connor. And that's on that side of the coin. On the other side of the coin, we have 2 very soon to be announced projects that are going to be, you know, handled by press release. Right now, it's still in the making. So, but those 2 announcements alone this year could bring up over 500 jobs to one area of the county. So we're very proud of that. That's permanent. Construction is on top of that, and upfitting is on top of that. So we have a lot to share with you as we move forward this year. Last year, Connor and I went to Semicon West, and we had already, I think we had already done, at least Cassidy thought that we had already done site selectors by now, but now the conference season is upon us. Connor just got back from the New York State EDC event where he was a panelist and spoke at the event. I heard from my colleague Millen and just how great he was.
He heckled me the whole time.
Did he? Well,
Front row center.
You know, I've been connected in this industry for a lot of years, so don't think for a second that I didn't get a ton of texts, because I was not at that event, from my colleagues and friends. And then I reached out to Connor and said, wow, I heard, and he was like, I don't think I did good enough. And that's good. That's good. Never think you're so good that you couldn't do better. But anyway, I got a lot of feedback on that. Association of Towns, the partnership had attended this year. Site Selectors Guild is coming up, as is the Taiwan Smart City Summit and Expo. So you're going to see and hear more about that as we move forward. Just as a friendly reminder to our colleagues and friends at SUNY Orange, we partner with SUNY on a lot of things, including, you know, development of research and workforce and other things. Their 75th anniversary is coming up this year, and some of you around this table may have graduated from that school or taken some courses from that school. Please, we're going to send you some information. Connor and I are trying to make sure that college event is really well attended, and it continues to build our college, because SUNY Orange happens to be one of the very best 2-year colleges in the state, and we have them here in our county, so we're lucky. attraction update, Connor, I'm going to leave that to you. I don't know, we want you to tick through and not
Yeah,
get too much
very
in the
good.
weeds, but if you could
Sure.
cover anything with FAST, New
Sure.
York, and the construction uptick on Ridgecut Road is
Yeah,
also
sure,
a high
sure.
point.
So fast, we're gonna again start the process this quarter on both Aidenbrook and Roaston, and then we expect an uptick in construction in part on 208 in Montgomery next to Walgreens. There's gonna be a groundbreaking of a speculative industrial building, 146,000 square feet, directly next to Walgreens on 208, probably less than half a mile from 84. So that's gonna be a speculative box, and then Brookfield is gonna break ground on a 416,000 square foot industrial building on a former brownfield in the city of Newburgh. That's gonna happen this quarter as well, soft groundbreaking. And then you have Matrix, who's also out there. We think within the next 3 months, we could see groundbreaking. They've already prepared the site. That's gonna be 585,000 square feet of industrial. And then Crow continues to move forward in the Golden Triangle. They're marching toward a delivery date this year of 585,000 square feet of Class A, modern industrial space. And we mentioned that EDC, that's power for us because when we get requirements, again, these developers are just delivering a box with, water, sewer, and power infrastructure. So that allows us to move at the speed of business. Instead of offering the shovel-ready site, we can offer the spec building and then just go back to Orange and Rockland or Central Hudson and say, hey, we need, increased infrastructure in the building, or whether it's, additional capacity based on the user. But uptick in construction activity, and then we'll see an uptick in, I think, site development driven by Fast New York.
Good stuff. Is there an actual written report in your packet?
And
Okay, well, we just did the QPM, I think that's why we decided, but we can send you out the QPM notes and also an attraction report if anyone is interested in reading more detail. That's always, something that we're here to share with the board. Investor update, 54% of all the invoices that were sent in January have already been received. We have, a lot of what I found interesting this year and really encouraging and refreshing is that we have several companies that decided they wanted to up their investment. Not us going after them coming in and saying, we recognize the value. And I'm talking about with a law firm, I don't wanna name names, and a construction company, and one other alone, over $50,000. And then several companies going from one level to a much higher level and committing to some events. So there is, a list of investors that moved up. When you get your investment lists at this meeting, perhaps in May, you'll be able to see the jump. So I think we're gonna have a a good year. I hope we have a good year with construction. It always relies on that. I hope that there's some of these projects that we prepared for last year start to break ground and move forward, and that's when you see that momentum building. Our website, this is a very long process. We have a pretty detailed website. We're proud of it. We've won some New York State awards for our website in the past, and hope that we will continue to do that. But we wanted to freshen it, create our brand, just in a new and fresh way. We also had to do certain things to our website to accommodate the compliance efforts that we're in right now. So we had to rebuild some pages, but we want to do that, very authentically. But we also wanted to bring some fresh life to it, focusing on the industry clusters that we really want to bring to the table. And the homepage is already set. The sites take forever, but we promised this board that we would have it completed by the end of the first quarter. April 1st, yeah, same thing, end of the first quarter. And it should launch by the end of this week. So we're very proud of the work that we've done, and it really has been a team effort, sitting around that marketing desk, working with our marketing firm, and building what we want, So we're proud of that. We'll send out a press release. We'll make sure that this board knows everything about what's going on there. And then events. So I told you about the QPM. It even blew our minds, and we're always hopeful that these events will be big. The ABG meeting is coming up. That is a private invitation-only meeting in April, just for members. We have all of our other events loaded up. You guys, this board has already discussed potential award winners, I'd rather not say them here right now because not all award winners have been spoken to yet. Make sure that it's in their schedule and they're in town, but we're really building the year and going to have all of that set up in the next 2 months, so we're ready to go. It's for the year. And that is my report,
That's your report.
unless anyone has questions.
No? Thank
Maureen,
you.
can I just, and I don't know how much Kurt knows, but certainly for Greg's purposes, could you just explain to them, AGE, that just.
ABG, yeah, sure.
Explain to them what the concept is and what's really the politics behind it.
Sure. So I'll give you the 2-minute version here, but in your orientation, if we're still having that today, we go into depth. So the Alliance for Balanced Growth is, sort of a committee, a standing committee of the partnership that really takes on the big issues like wetland remapping and what that means to your company and all of our projects. When the state has changed their wetland mapping, and all of a sudden you went from, perhaps, giving a buffer of this amount of land, now you're moving it to more than 3 times.
It depends on the circumstances, that's the problem.
But it is a problem, because there's nothing very well defined, but it impacts every project.
Yeah.
And so we take on issues like that, and on power, and the need for more. We had panelists discuss to our guests, what that looks like and how that impacts economic development. But the Alliance for Balanced Growth really takes on, and we're hopefully doing some licensing, some credits for engineers and others that can come. We've done it in the past, we've gotten some credits for engineers and others that wanna make sure that they're doing their annual requirements for licensing. But we really take on issues that could negatively or in some cases positively impact economic development and educate the community on how the need is for whatever that might be, power and other regulations. So that's the short version. We'll give a little more during orientation if that happens today. I don't know if you're spending the whole week here or what. But whenever you can do it, we'll do it. Yeah.
Maureen, can I add to that? The Alliance for Balanced Growth is an ad hoc committee, so it's not in your bylaws, so it's sort of an informal committee.
Thank
that makes it very nimble, because you can bring people from the outside.
Yes.
You can make it whatever you want. It is a very informal group,
Yeah.
so it doesn't bind the OCP. It is, very collaborative
Yes.
with the OCP.
Thank you.
Good point.
Great point, yeah.
Very good.
Anything else, Mr. Mathis?
No, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Any questions or comments from the board? We're gonna move on to new business. Emeritus. Our bylaws contain a provision whereby we can honor longstanding board members with the title Board Member Emeritus. I'm honored to make a motion to move Jimmy Smith, well, actually, to have Jimmy Smith and Alan Seidman to join this title as being part of our Board Emeritus for their 20 years of plus of service to the Orange County Partnership, for their leadership during those 20 years, and for their continued leadership and involvement in partnership. We'd really like to have them be a part of our Board Emeritus. I'd like to make a motion to accept Jimmy Smith and Alan
Second.
Simon. All in favor? Thank you.
Well, can I ask a question? Would that be
Sure.
possible? I mean,
Yeah.
It looks like this.
Oh, sorry, yes, question, sorry.
This is the first
Oh,
time
wait, you
I've
can't
heard-
even vote.
This is a non-voting position.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes. No, it's really is an honor for them to continue to be involved. Non-voting, yes.
No, I understand. I would just ask before anything else happens at the board, that be a much wider discussion moving forward, please. Because I think you need to be very careful as you add board seats.
No, these are not seats.
They're not seats.
Sandy, these are not board seats. They're on our stationary.
Oh, Maureen, I understand.
Oh.
I understand. I don't need to be clear on that. You just threw out without any discussion in addition to some board involvement. And I'm just saying, there should be a wider discussion on that, and I think now Connor should be included in that. We shouldn't get hit with this for the first time at a meeting.
Well,
And I
they,
guess that's my,
well, Sandy, they were distributed with the board meeting minutes prior to the minutes, prior to today's meeting, so they were part of the minutes that they would be discussed, this would be voted on
well,
today.
I think this meeting was a little fast put together and not a lot of time provided to review stuff, and I didn't have review because I've been traveling, but I'm just saying, I just think,
Okay,
I think, as long as they're non-voting, it's fine, but I
Yeah.
think there needs to be, you can't be haphazardly messing with the board. This is a new start, you should be strategic on the talent you're bringing in to balance the board with expertise and that kind of thing moving forward. But non-voting, you wanna honor these two guys, great. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments.
It is a non-voting position. It
Correct.
is set forth in your bylaws that you have this. Typically, it's an honor, a reward, if you will, for long-time service. I suspect that you would invite them to all of your events and, keep them very involved because of their long history.
Yes. Correct. And actually, if you wouldn't mind at some point distribute what our current merit
Yeah,
list looks
it's
like.
no different than sending like the newsletter and all of our invitations to events to Lou Heimbach.
Yes.
To other emeritus over the years, Bob Hannon or someone that served that length of time. They're non-voting, it's an honor, actually, what it is,
Okay,
so.
thank you for clarifying. We are also, as a public authority, required to have a couple of committees in addition to our executive committee. So we need to appoint that.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
are you gonna-
Are you tabling the
Yeah.
emeritus or
No,
are you
I'm
taking a
sorry.
vote?
We're taking,
Motion.
sorry,
Oh,
taking a
okay.
motion, I thought it passed. So all in favor, you second the motion,
Yes.
Susan, second motion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Sorry.
Moving on to the appointment of committee members. In addition to our executive committee, we have two other committees, a governance committee. So this is also in your minutes, but I'll read through the
So,
definition.
I'm sorry, when
Yeah.
you're saying intermittent, I don't see any of that. So,
The
no, we
agenda.
don't get
The
any of that.
agenda. You didn't get it in the
Well, the
agenda?
agenda doesn't say anything.
Oh, we're not
The
showing
agenda
it.
agenda is only you.
So that, like,
So I
would,
apologize.
so yeah, so like, I don't know, I'm not ready to talk about committees, we haven't even,
Okay.
we know nothing.
We know nothing. Can we go into executive session with that for committees or?
Yes, let's say that you're asking for legal advice as to what your bylaws require by way of committees, and I'm happy to talk about that in executive session if that's what you prefer. Or you can put it off till your next meeting.
I like to, because I think we need more time than that, because we don't know anything
Okay,
about
I
this.
apologize. I
And we didn't know anything about the apparatus either, and
Okay,
we don't,
Well,
it
if I
was,
can ask a question of Millen, if you don't mind, Melissa.
absolutely.
Is the committees, they're required by the public authority, and that has to be done by a certain time, is that correct?
Yes, but if your board's not ready to vote on them.
Right, but
you
in
know.
order to remain in compliance, that has to be.
And do you, I apologize, you do not have these committees now? Is it that there's old members
Yes.
who are holding over?
Yes, so
Okay.
we always had a governance committee back in the day. It was sort of as needed, they would meet if they needed to do changes in, anything like bylaws or rules or regulations on the board. So it was, but now I believe the state of New York is requiring that we meet twice per year, that there has to be 3 board members that volunteer for that committee. And same with finance and audit. Yes, we did have a finance committee, but, it was when we were a not-for-profit. They met when it was necessary, and it was not, but this is a requirement now that has to be, and I think it is timely, and I'm not 100% sure, do you know, so Cassie? Okay, so, and I would like to apologize, when Millen gave the agenda, well, this is kind of the script for the board meeting. It was always in the past that it was the chairman and the CEO that received the script, and the board received the agenda that went out. So now,
We should have included those.
yeah, if we can include that, that's not on you. We're in a whole new arena here, so we're trying all new things.
So is the question about whether we should have these committees or the participants? in
The
committee?
participants of the
Okay.
committee. So what I was going to do is go through the various descriptions, have volunteers for the committees,
Okay.
or if we don't feel like we can vote on that today, or volunteers for those committees today, we can table it. But I don't know if we're up against a deadline of March or.
Well,
May.
your parish reports are due shortly.
Yes.
Part of your parish reports are your audited
Committees.
financial statements
Okay.
and the committees. So you need an audit committee to approve the audits. So I guess I had maybe mistakenly understood that you had these committees, although I guess the question is, if that was when you had a much larger board
Yes.
And they were
last
different
year,
members.
That's correct.
now, I don't know who was on them and
Not
whether or not
anybody
there's
in this
enough
room.
people.
here, yeah,
Okay,
right.
then it probably is timely to fill these positions. So the committees exist.
Okay.
In your recently enacted bylaws, we've tailored what they do to both state law and the public, the ADO guidance. So you do need to fill them, and there is some timeliness to them.
Okay,
So
so
what
what
if
do
they
you
were a
think?
one-year appointment only, and then they can be discussed over?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just, I don't know, I didn't know this was even gonna come up, so I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to even think about like what committee you would wanna be on. That's the problem, is I don't think it's an issue of there needs to be committees or what, it's just
Correct.
more, we didn't know this was gonna come up today, so like no one's given it any consideration for like which,
That is correct.
what committee they would wanna be on or any of that.
There are
So-
very defined definitions from the.
Yeah,
the-
and I'll
Right,
write through
right.
those.
Right.
But
Let's
we
see
could
if
also
we can
distribute
solve
them, do you
this.
wanna,
Yeah.
yes. So we've got a governance committee. So the governance committee's function is to evaluate, make recommendations regarding the bylaws and the rules and regulations of the corporation. This committee shall also serve as the nominating committee. The nominating committee will also include the immediate past chairperson. We need 3 volunteers, 3 board members, meet twice a year. That's the parameters for the governance committee. Finance and audit committee. The finance and audit committee responsibility is to select the audit firm, to review and respond to the audited financial statements and related issues, to provide the oversight for the creation and approval of the annual budget, and to address required financial issues. 3 board members, annual review of finances, those are the 2. So we've got governance and we've got finance, those are the only committees that we're required to have.
Melissa, a question on, I appreciate the context. So other boards that I've served on in these type of roles, do we have specificity as to who is typically the chair of those committees? So in my experience, I typically see the treasurer kind of serving as the chair of finance and audit, and the secretary typically serving as kind of the chair of governance. Is that
In our
spelled out, or
prior
is that?
world, no, it's not spelled out. Millen can speak to that.
Yeah, by the way, it's at least 3 members and at least twice a year, so, you know, you can make it as big as you want. Small bodies often say, okay, all 5 board members are everything, so it's pretty much the same. As your board may or may not grow, you probably do want smaller. And the answer is your bylaws do not specify who is the chair of any of these.
Correct. That's why we're looking for volunteers. This is very different than how
Because
we
I actually wanna be on the
operated
governance committee, not on the finance committee.
before. You're stuck on fine.
No, I've always sort of thought it was weird that, like, I'm not a banker, why am I the treasurer?
That was the
That
succession
was the
planning.
succession when we had an executive.
Correct.
Now it's changed.
So you had to do your 2 years of finance, whether you wanted to or not.
Right.
That was your succession plan. So can we further discuss this today and get volunteers? I know Mike's not here. I don't know that I want, Mike probably would be a safe assumption to put on the finance committee. But if we're not ready, then
I guess, I don't know, I was just, it sort of popped up out of
we
nowhere.
need to.
It did pop off, but if I needed to make a decision today, I can make a decision today.
Yeah, I'm kind of the
Perfect,
same
'cause
boat.
we can change
Yeah.
it, and it's just something where it's really compliance that we need to have these
Yep.
committees.
No one's disagreeing with that, it's just that
Yes,
none of us, I
we
think,
apologize for
knew
that.
that this was gonna come up today.
Yes,
Cause we actually, these need to be a little more
Yes,
robust,
they do.
right? Like there's, yeah, so,
we will expand on it.
Yeah.
just a little bit.
All right, so for volunteers.
Governance, please.
I'm sorry, can I ask, so have we determined if this absolutely has to happen in March, or do we have another month?
It does.
It has to happen in March.
By the 31st of
Well,
March.
This is a question for the attorney. What is the problem, is because we need a committee structure to approve something before April 1st?
I'm sorry, could you,
Why do we have to have this done by
Paris-
March?
No, because of the Paris reporting
For
thing.
the submission has to be approved.
Maureen, I totally understand Paris, I'm asking, I wanna know if this is mandated, because I think this is way too important to jam down our throats right now.
the answer is yes. To comply with your parish reporting, you need to have both of these committees.
Why is that? I understand the audit committee potentially, because you have to adopt your budget and audit, but why governance? What decision are they making for the parish?
Oh, they're not gonna make any decision now, so,
It's just a question that they ask. They just ask, do you have audit,
Right.
governance, finance? Is it
Right.
yes or no?
Oh, so it's a
And-
box checking exercise.
It is, and for us, I made the promise to my chair that we would be fully compliant, and so we So we need to check that box in order to be fully compliant.
Now, we could make
Board
changes
committee
to
is
this.
nothing to survey back, hey, governance has serious implications for how the board move forward. And I think that membership, it really needs to be understood and balanced.
Okay, well, I heard 3 for governance, right? 1,
So-
2, 3.
So could we, so that we can check the Paris boxes, can we do this today and then we can take a little bit of time? And if we need to reshuffle, we need to move people around, we need to do
Yes.
something
Oh, that's
different.
that.
We can do something
Yes.
different going
Yes.
down the
Yes.
road.
Yes.
Or
Right, so if we-
can you temporarily convey the authority of that committee to the executive committee while we have time to essentially establish? What we, what was that? Mary?
We don't have an executive
We
committee
don't
at the
really
moment.
technically
Okay,
have.
right, so.
Yeah, you know,
Well-
we're all swimming in a different world right now, and you were part of the board for a long
Yeah.
time, and we don't have that executive structure right now.
But
In
you
fact-
do have an executive committee, and under your bylaws, the executive committee shall be made up of the chairperson of the board, the vice chair, second vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and immediate past chair. So it's, you don't get to elect who those are, it's by those offices. Now, I don't know if you have a, for example, second vice chair that you've all, nominated, so you may have an
Well, it's all,
executive committee.
it's changed, so I was the chair going through December, stayed on because we're going through all this transition.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so Susan, if we're going with that same structure, she's the executive vice chair. And then Mary Beth is, and then after that, those board members are no longer on the board, so.
Right. So I think we gotta
So
look at this whole, we gotta look at this
exactly.
whole
This is
thing, I
part
think,
of what we
right?
have to do, yes.
Yeah,
Probably by May, the board meeting. For now, we can check the boxes for the Paris report, that we have governance and an audit committee, correct?
Mhm.
And reevaluate that in the next 2 months. Maureen, is that our next meeting, May?
It's in May.
In May. Is everyone comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you for that. Let's check the boxes, that's fine, but as long as your commitment is that you will support and make happen a wider discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
With a reevaluation of membership in April. And I think an executive committee is a discussion we need to have in that time frame as well.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Thank you. Okay, our volunteers for,
But there's,
okay, these are the 3 audit,
no,
governance.
governance.
and we're the audits.
Okay,
Ryan,
sure.
I think right.
No, he's governance.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Audit and finance.
you wanna be, you wanna be audit and finance. Thank you, Greg. Yes,
And governance, if I could.
thank you, Sam.
Governance.
All right.
Which is different.
And then I'm gonna put Mike on finance as well.
Makes sense.
And then Greg, thank you. And then Kurt,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Sandy,
For governance.
governance.
And Mary Beth.
Yeah, Mary Beth, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely have a much longer discussion.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, this just, I wasn't.
No,
we didn't-
I apologize. I didn't know that our agenda wasn't any more, normally we do send out these, if we're
Yeah.
voting on something and we
Yeah.
have bylaws to vote on, we usually do include those in our minutes.
We do.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that.
Melissa, did you say you were gonna be on finance?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have 4 and 4, is really what we're doing.
Actually, I have 4 and 3. Oh, Sandy.
No,
Well, no,
no,
Kurt,
you-
Sandy,
I'm
Mary
putting
Beth,
Mike
and
on,
And
Ryan.
then put Mike on
I
finance.
do
Mike on
have
finance.
Greg, you're staying on finance.
Yes. Okay. Let's go back to the vote. So let's vote, put this in the vote now, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do one vote for both, as long as you don't have the folks for reaching.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to have the following board members as part, I'm gonna do 2 votes.
I think you're in executive session, aren't you?
No, we're not, we never
No,
went into
no.
executive
No,
session,
okay.
no.
Thanks.
Yep, okay, so apologize. Okay, so I'd like to propose, I'd like to make a motion to propose the following board members for our governance committee. Sandy Mathis, Mary Beth Bianconi, Kurt Kaler, Ryan Hawthorne. All in favor? Or second the motion? Can someone second the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'd like to propose the following board members for the Finance and Audit Committee. Greg Peckham, Mike Gilfeather, Susan Dean, Melissa Kabouzi. Can someone second the motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, now, you may have not seen this, but they've seen the investment
That
policy.
did come, that did.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. All right, as part of our Paris reporting as well, we need to have to vote back in our investment policy as per the outline of the ABO, correct? Millen?
Yes.
All right,
I know that was also seemed to be a finding in our audit report, if I recall
It
correctly.
was, yes, it was. Yeah, I
Yes,
can
they
explain
did.
that if you'd like. So the audit was done last year, we became a public authority in September. When we went to the Paris report, they said, do you have an investment policy? We said yes, but it wasn't aligned with the new Paris reporting. It wasn't aligned with the public authority. So they caught it, thankfully. It was not a material, weakness, but they did want to bring it to our attention that we needed to tweak what was our investment report to make it comply with the public authority. Millen has done that, that's what you have before you. If we adopt it, we won't get done again next year.
What, any substantive changes, just so I'm clear as to what the old policy is?
I have both for you if you'd like to compare, but no, it was really in compliance with New York State regulations, we will. You wanna explain the changes?
Yeah, I don't have the red line in front
Yeah.
of me as to what your old one was,
I will.
but your old one was pretty good.
Here's the old one.
This does not require compensating balances. One of the issues is, many many governmental agencies can only invest their money in banks, et cetera, where the bank maintains, cash collateral, if you will, for that investment. So this one, specifies that you'll be prudent. You will, if you hire an investment manager, and I'm not sure if you have before, you will give that investment manager the guidance as to how risky or not your policy is going to be, and you're obviously looking to maximize returns and minimize risk. So it's an investment policy, but you still give lots of guidance to the investment manager. It allows you to pay the investment manager whatever fees are customary and reasonable. So it's a policy, but you still have to implement it by figuring out, how much money you have and how, quite honestly, aggressive you want to be with investing it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Are we ready to take a vote on this? Okay. So we're required to review and reapprove the investment policy. I've asked our outside counsel to review our policy, and they've recommended a few changes. Their draft has been distributed to the board, all of which you have copies of. If there are no further questions or comments on that, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the investment policy as distributed.
So
Make a
moved.
motion. Second? No one second motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so that ends that business reporting side. However, I failed to mention, as in our excitement to offer Connor the CEO position, to a kind of some context to whoever may be watching this, that Maureen has announced her retirement of June 3rd of 2025 after 30 years.
24.
24 years.
Felt like 30 the last couple months.
I gave you an extra 6 years.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
so, but we just wanna say thank you for your 24 years
Thanks.
of leading the Orange County Partnership to be one of the leading economic development agencies in New York State. We're very proud of the work you've done. You've helped us all create jobs for not only ourselves, but our businesses and our families and our friends and their community. You have built a county that is growing, that not only can we find jobs, there's breweries, there's hiking trails, whatever there is. There's a whole life that you can be lived in Orange County, and you're very much a part of that creation. So thank you for that dedication and hard work. We're going to miss you, and we're looking forward to honoring Maureen at our MVP, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Dinner.
MVP dinner. It's always previously been a breakfast, but we will be honoring Maureen for her 24 years of service, as well as Alan Steidman for his long service as a board member. And we changed that from breakfast to dinner so we could really honor you and with all the glitz and glamour that you deserve and for all the recognition that you deserve. So thank you. and we're
Thank
gonna
you so
miss
much. It's been a privilege, really. It was the best.